Okay, so I finally have time to talk about basically the update they had today, and there's some nice little things that they kind of dropped. So we hit 2 million downloads. Keep in mind that's without PC, so we'd probably be much higher if we had PC included, because I know a lot of people who either can't play on phone or won't, right? We got 3 pulls for standard, and then we got like what, 5 more stamina pots, I guess you could say. And honestly, it's not bad. I think 1 million is kind of a bigger milestone, so it makes sense why we got more. And I really think standard pulls are fine in this game. I really don't mind them, honestly. We'll do a multi since I have the pulls. And for some reason, the audio is working on my phone, which is really cool. So, like, I'm, like, hearing things for the first time now. And let me put it a bit lower. It's a little high. But I was like pretty hyped when I like got on, and for some reason it just worked. Oh yes, bro, yes. A Rio dupe is fucking huge. So we're gonna discuss the raid today and how I basically got close to 40 million points, and this was this morning. So right now that might be closer to 45 million if I were to do the same run. But basically there's 3 main DPSs that you're gonna want to use for this, and pretty much only them. So raid, let's go into it. Basically, you get some good rewards. I think in total, like with everything they dropped today, you're getting close to 10 pulls, which isn't bad. In terms of missions, for just clearing it, you're going to get 2 pulls. Then there's a pull here, which is a pickup ticket, actually, which is good. Another pull here, which is, I think, just a normal gacha ticket. I think that's a pickup gacha. And then a standard again, I think. Anyway, there's like a good amount of pulls. Then you got this, and then a bunch of other little rewards. So overall, I'm like pretty actually happy with this. I personally would have liked an exchange shop. I always love when they do exchange shops, but it is what it is. Now there's 3 main things, right? First of all, you have to deal damage mainly when they're broken. Second, you have to do single target. Third, you have to do crit damage. So that requires 2 main things. First of all, to have a single target attack, and second of all, to have crit rate to give you a better chance. Now, there's 3 units that heavily fall into this category. Number 1, Reno. Number 2, Kaiju No.8. Number 3, Mina. All right. Now for secondary options between those two, I would say Kikoru, and then also Hoshina could work. Hoshina on his ult has crit rate increase, and then he has crit rate increase here and crit damage. So Hoshina could definitely work. And then also Kikoru is single target on her ult, so that can work also. I've done very good damage with just Reno's skill 2, because it basically is a mini ult, right? It really is. It's kind of crazy, but Reynolds skill 2 damage is almost as high as her ult, which is kind of crazy to think about. So the main 3 units you're really going to want to focus on is, let me move my camera. It's going to be Reno, right? It's going to be Kaiju, and then it's going to be Mina, right? And I'm going to try one with Mina in this video. I'm going to show you the run I did this morning with Reno and Kaiju No.8. And basically, I kind of backloaded to be in the back, and then 5-star Mina is very good because her fierce or focus, I should say, gives her 100% crit rate when you're at 3 stacks. Now you could basically make it to where you get the stacks at the end of the battle, which is how I rather do it anyway. Now, the 2 best 4-stars for this, and the ones you want to use, are Hoshina and Mina. Mina is fucking nuts, because she gives a 3-turn buff, and this gives target and combat skill damage, and specifically for someone like Reno, combat skill damage is huge. And then, of course, she gives 50% attack for me, because I have a level 6, and what's very good is her ult is a damage-dealing ult. So you're able to use this ult, and the ult then applies the morale, and then after the attack boost from the morale. And because it's 3 turns, she doesn't have to use her skill too much, right? And then she could just use her skill 1 to build up SP. And it's very, very good, this ult, obviously, to deal an extra break, right? Because you need to break it 7 times to actually be in broken state. So Mina having an ult that does damage is very clutch. And then, of course, Hoshina has everything that you need. The crit rate is very good for this game mode, of course, because you do want to do a crit. Then he gives single target damage, very important, single target damage. And then on his ult, he gives speed. But if he uses his ult or skill 2, at 1 SP, he gives crit damage and extra speed, right? And then normal attack damage, doesn't really matter. So overall, he is very good. I don't think I'm going to worry too much about the crit damage anymore because it's plus, right? and why is plus not really that important? Well, let's go to the raid battle real quick and let's look at this. All right, that's plus 5,500. So yes, obviously you're going to get more by that extra 50, but it's not multiplied. It's an added plus. So it might make 5,550 to 5,600 crit damage increase. So you don't need to worry about this too much. It's mainly the single target increase and then also the crit rate here while giving speed is just a huge combo. And then also the ult, of course, is an attack, which you want to have. So my team that I used this morning was Reno, Hoshina, Mina, and Kaiju. But now I'm thinking Reno, Hoshina, Mina, and Mina is probably the best because her ult is quite strong. She also gets the big damage increase when you're attacking a giant class Kaiju. So my thing is that I'm probably just gonna use the buff the turn before, then you ult, and then you do your big boy damage. That's probably what it's gonna be, because I think Kaiju is also very good. I just, like, this crit damage doesn't matter, right? Because plus 60, like, who the fuck cares? So I'm really thinking of using Mina. I want to try one with Mina after I show you my run that I recorded on my phone. Now, for other buffers, you can use Rio. The problem is ult is a buff and not an attack, which means you're going to lose out on that break, which is the one problem with Rio. You can use him. You just have to ult at the beginning and do all that good stuff. He does work because he doesn't need to use SP. It's decent. I just think that Mina and Hoshina are the two by far best ones to use for sure, like without a doubt. So this is the run I did this morning. Don't mind this on the left. I was listening to music while doing my runs, and of course, picture-in-picture had to have it on the left. Because for some reason, you can't listen to music in the game. It's very weird. Like, I had to go in YouTube, have my picture-in-picture to listen to the music. Very weird. So Hoshina, make sure he's comboed with Reno, so Reno gets the guaranteed crits. The thing is, I much rather fully invest into Reno, but you can switch it up. I just personally rather do it with Reno to get that guaranteed 100% pretty much almost all the time. And then I put Mina with Kaiju. Also, I like Hoshina getting the last hit now on the follow-up, but when I did this, I think I fumbled that. So let's start. And you see my go watch To Be Hero X, by the way. So I made myself a bit smaller just so you could see more of the actual game, so keep that in mind. And I go slow, so I might have to skip some parts, but honestly, boss does look very good. So yeah, we have single target, all that good stuff, and there's 5 turns. So I kind of backloaded to where now I'm not really doing much. Now, what I do decide to do, and let me put my ass right here. Right here, yeah. So what I decided to do is make Reno pretty much do most of the damage early on, and you're gonna see, since it's single target, like, that's a good 760 right away, which is nice. It's nice considering Mina now hasn't buffed yet. That means the next turn I think was about 1 million, so it's pretty good. And you see, we're not going for the break because then afterwards he's gonna ult, so it's like you can only get 1 really good break in. Maybe we could get 2, but 2, it's like I don't even think you could do that. Maybe we'll see. Maybe I'll like realize I've just been stupid. And you see, we didn't get the crit, so it's like only 285, which it could have been much higher. But you see here, we do 500 because we don't get the crit. So it's like little things like that could ruin the RNG. You basically, this revolves around 2 things. Obviously, being in break mode, and then 2, getting the fucking crit, right? That's the biggest thing. So now he's in this damage reduction state, so we're not really doing too much, right? Even that break doesn't matter because he's gonna heal it back up essentially. So there is that, but you know, we still do our damage, we still try and do it, we still do 600k, so it's not damage that's going to waste. And since he has a chance to heal it back, it's always worth to go with Reno for sure. For sure. Now, I probably should have buffed with Mina there, but I digress. Not too sure what exactly I was going for. Now here I'm kind of just thinking how I should do this. So I think we go on Reno, makes sense. And then we go for that and we get lucky. It's all about getting lucky when you're doing the raid, so keep that in mind. We do a solid 789, so I'm happy with that. Kaiju still doesn't really, he's kind of there for chip for now, right? Like, he's just doing the taunt, doesn't even matter for being real. We got that buff on Reno, so we're looking good. Obviously, you don't take damage in this, which is pretty nice. Then we go for the skill 2. So now we're trying to go for the kill. Thankfully, I think we regen that SP, which is more than huge, right? It is clutch as fuck. 1.6 million, very good. And then afterwards, I should probably put that on Kaiju. Listen, guys, it was very early in the morning. I did this at like 4 or 5 a.m. and now it's 3 p.m. So listen, it was pretty early. Now, did I guess I didn't have it on Reno. So there we go. Now we ult with Hoshina because I'm pretty sure like he's at like low enough to where you could do it now, like SP wise. So yeah, we were at 1 SP, which means we did get the extra crit damage, which never hurts. Now I go for the skill 1 just because I want to build up that essentially. Oh, Mina, yeah, it was very unfortunate with Mina. But anyway, just to build up the SP, right? Now, I don't know why I'm pondering this. I should just go for the skill 2. But we're looking good. We have the buffs we need. So going for the skill 2 is going to do some very good damage. And thankfully, we've regened the SP. So we're not worse off at all. We 1.8. Love to see it. So we're doing good damage with Reno. We're going to show his build afterwards. And then afterwards, now Mina, she goes for the buff. Right, on Kaiju, and now her ult applies the attack boost for that 1 turn. Remember, ult does not lower your turn buff, so like basically if you have a 2-turn buff and you ult, it's going to stay at 2 turns. So because she attacked, it lets this kind of go very smoothly to where, and also by the way, if I was min-maxing, I should have done it the opposite order to where I do it with Mina first, and then afterwards I would have done it with Hoshina, but because of how it worked to where I needed to be 1 SP, and I also wanted to make sure both people had morale, so Mina gives the attack boost. It didn't really work out that way, but you want to follow up more so with Reno, and I got notifications, so is what it is, but you know, nothing harmful, literally just a Luful.net bot, so it's fine. Here I probably should just skill 1. They should still keep the buffs. If I skill 2, we would be in a very bad spot, I should say. But we do go for the ult. We want to make sure we ult, obviously, because Reno, when he ults, he gets a 2-turn damage buff. He has that, the lizard set. So we do very good damage overall, considering it's not single target. Then we go for the Kaiju ult, and this one should do about as much, I'd say. Maybe more. It's very possible that it does more. Oh, it does a lot more. Yeah, so that does 11 million. And then we skill 1 with Hoshina, I hope. Yes, sir. Which in its own right does 400k. Then we go for the skill 2 on Kaiju, which I don't think crit. Yeah, that didn't crit. Oh, no, it did. Really? That was kind of low. I was expecting a bit higher. But actually, no, it makes sense. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. And then, of course, Hoshina does insane, ridiculous 10 million skill 2. So we did 43 million on that, which was definitely not bad. I'm quite happy, but I do think 50 million is possible. So, we're back in game. I think I'm not going to do the Mina run today, but I kind of showed a bit of how a run would look. I think most people do have Kaiju and Reno, so I'm not really too worried about that. And most people do have Hoshina and Mina, which I'm realizing Mina is very worthy of A tier. Like a 3-turn buff is so good, because you have to keep in mind Hoshina's buff is only 2 turns, where Mina's is 3, and she gets to play around with that on 2 DPS teams. So Reno is dupe too, keep that in mind. And I also have the weapon. But now, thing is, when I did it, it was this morning. There's more buffs now, so it pretty much makes up for what I have extra. Also, keep in mind, the dupe 1 is pretty much fucking worthless. 30% is nothing, right? It's pretty much nothing, because we have like, what, 4,500 plus crit damage, so it's like plus adding 30 doesn't matter. This is very strong, though. This is very strong. So I have him and his weapon. We got Kaiju, dupe 0. Then we got Hoshina, dupe 5, and Mina, dupe 5. Now on Mina, I got the damage increase for 2 turns after using her ult. And then on Hoshina, I have, after ulting, you get the 25% attack to Battle Buddy, which is why I put it with Hoshina mainly, because Hoshina is the one doing damage. Now for Reno, I still have crit rate on him. If you want to put crit damage, it's fine. But for rate now, I would say crit rate works better, which is very, like a weird stroke of luck, because you're supposed to put crit damage. But for raid, it works better to have crit rate. Right, it's very weird that you can't switch sets. You have to remake it. I find that so bad. I genuinely, like, I need to talk about that, because like it's pretty ass if you want to switch sets, especially with raid. You're gonna want different builds, because what is like 50% crit damage gonna do when it's plus like 5,000, right? Doesn't matter, but the extra crit rate's gonna guarantee that you crit. Kaiju obviously has nothing, so that's it. Also, by the way, on Mina, I put 1 extra SP. I think this actually helped me a lot, giving the 1 extra SP. So you could put the things called bovine set. So try that out. On Hoshina, though, it's the attack after using a combat skill, so that one is actually pretty good. So yeah, that's like overall the build I used. Like I said, there's 5 main units. I would say Mina is going to be very good if you do the same strat. It should work in a very similar format to where you end up in a very good spot with Mina. Also, because she doesn't need SP besides 1 turn, really. She is very well off. I think I'm just basically going to get her a bit stronger in terms of gear. I'm going to put crit rate on her. No, she has, never mind. She has guaranteed crit. What am I fucking saying? That's unfortunate. So I'm going to change, I might change the middle one, but for now it's actually fine now that I like just remembered what the fuck she does. But I might get her ult up a bit more or the buff. We'll get this one up. So basically, like, we know the main units. I would really say Hoshina and what's her name, Mina are the best by far buffers for this. You're gonna probably want to run both of them. I do not see a world where Rio's better because his ult gives some damage increase. This gives attack. What else? Oh, there's this. I guess there's also this, but that's at the beginning. And you usually want to do it at the end, especially if you're running Mina. And then, of course, like I said, the other two, Hoshina and Kikoru could work, but that's kind of it. And then, oh, well, I guess it's daily login, so there we go. The only thing that's a bit weird, let's get everything. I do think there's a good amount of pulls. Like, you log in, you're getting like 2 free pulls from the 2 logins like every single day. Oh, 3 pulls today. Let's go. The one thing with the raid that I must say, 2 things. Maybe like, is there a ranking? I don't see a ranking, right? I think they should really display a ranking. It's kind of crazy they don't. Personally, I think I'm just gonna might just do, nah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna do it with Mina, but I'm gonna make another video on that. I do think though that Reno is pretty much one of the best for it, but that's my opinion. You know, I think also having him Duke 2 does help, but hey, that is what it is. But Mina is going to be very good. I'm going to make other videos probably with Mina and maybe Hoshina because I haven't gotten much use out of him. So we'll see how that goes. But let me know what's your high score. Mine 43 million. I think 50 million is possible today. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.